Now it's time for an interview with the famous. Do we get a drum roll or something like that for the famous? Drum roll, please. Andy B. Oh, had to have the Have you finished?
You wanted an introduction.
I know. I asked for that, didn't I?
Basically.
So, Andy B is famous because you are on the Wake Up Call on Pure 24/7 Radio, only on Pure 24/7 Radio.
I'm not on the Wake Up Call.
No, did I say? No, hang on a minute. The Get You Home show, that's
Thank
it.
you.
Sorry. So famous, yeah.
That'll be Nathan.
The Pure 24/7 Radio was started, or it's launched in September, wasn't it? Last year. 1st of September. And you started to do that show, the Get You Home show. We started actually with the family focus, this actual show, didn't we?
Did.
This was the first show.
Yeah, we launched Friday the 1st of September at 12 p.m. and then at 3 p.m, 2 days later on a Sunday, we started our very first family focus. Yes.
So why? What on earth made you think, did you wake up one morning and go, do you know what? I'm going to start a radio station. What happened?
No, because you see, I never thought I'd do radio. I never thought it was something I would be able to do. I didn't think I would be good enough. Growing up in a place called the Black Country in the Midlands, which is a very, very heavy industrial place, hence the Black Country. It's lots of soot, lots of coal mines, lots of forges, glass blowing. That's the Black Country. And there's two things that you need to know about the language there. One of which is you generally speak very quickly and the dialect is quite strong and quite broad. So if you want to speak proper Black Country, people will not know what you've said unless you're a local. So having grown up with that kind of a background, I just assumed that any kind of voiceover work, which is what radio is, would not be for me. But here I am. Actually, you always thought I would be good at this.
Yes, I did actually.
Yeah, and I had an opportunity to do some radio work somewhere else, and that was really good fun. And I discovered, one, I love this. Two, this is really not like work. This is really easy. And three, lots of people are saying, gosh, you're really good. We love your voice. We love your approach. We love your whole attitude. You're just really normal. You don't come across as anything that you're not. There's a lot of authenticity. So that was really encouraging beginnings. And then in February 2022, we had 3 people within about a week to 10 days of each other, all saying to me directly, Andy, we think you should start your own radio station. We think you do a really good job. Do your own radio station. That then got us thinking. It got us talking because we were already in a different online ministry. So we were doing something called the berrybunch.org. You can go and find that out, berrybunch.org. And that's making videos, free resource videos for churches or for families or anybody who just wants an encouragement. And there were loads of things we used to do for that. So we were very used to being in front of a camera and delivering things on piece and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, someone had said, what about your own radio station? Followed by somebody else. And that led us to look seriously at it and realize, actually, hey, we actually can do this. It's actually possible. Then we realized it was technically possible. And then we realized financially it's never going to happen. And then realized, well, we could probably start it as long as we get more money coming in because we paid, we set it up personally. It's all of our own money. So and then we had people who wanted to support us a little bit, and that's great. And it kind of grew. So from February through till, I would say about April, May was looking into it, researching it. What software do you need to have? What licenses? How much do they cost? And over that period of time, realizing actually we could do this. We've actually got the space in the house. One fascinating thing, we had just switched to a hardline internet connection, having used basically a very fancy mobile phone is the best way of putting it. Literally getting the mobile phone signal, we then convert it into broadband for the house. And we just switched from that to a proper high-speed fiber optic broadband. And then that was another big tick actually of, now we've got a decent phone line for this. We've actually got high enough internet for this, good enough quality. And it just grew and grew. So by July, we were like, we're going to do this. So we told a few people kind of June time, July time. And then it was really hard work. It was a good few months to get ready for what we decided was going to be the 1st of September. I like deadlines. Deadlines are good. Deadlines mean that you actually have something to work to rather than, well, let's think about this in the future. And it was amazing. We had so much support behind us. We've got a great group of trustees, really good friends that I'd made, and they're on board. So they're supporting us and they're guiding us and holding us to account in really righteous, good ways. So why did we start this? Because we love radio and because we thought, there's a real gap for decent radio with decent music that's clean. And the real big thing for us is all of our music, it's free of bad language, and it never promotes anything illegal or immoral. That's not a stance I've seen on any other radio station. We play, it might be called mixed format. That's definitely not new. Mixed format has been around as long as you want to think. All mixed format means is you got people who've written songs, some of whom might say they're Christians and some of whom might not. That's not new. That's been around for decades. Every radio station all over the place does a mixed format station. You get some stations that are exclusively Christian. There's some great stations like UCB and Premier. They're brilliant for just pure Christian music only radio stations. But our heart and passion is we love all music, and there's some really good music out there. So we thought this was good. We think it is, and actually people are saying we love this. That nobody else is doing this. So we don't play Christian music any more than we play non-Christian music. We play music. And that's it. And I think that's what sets us apart. And when we explain that to people, when they say, what are you about? That's when they go, ooh, I like that. I like that. Because no one else has done that I could find anyway.
Two things coming to my mind, perhaps two questions from what you're saying. So you've come from doing videos.
Yes.
So my question about that, how can you go from videos, which you're visually seen, aren't you? And you might be demonstrative, or something comes across when you can see someone. How do you get across what you want to get across with just your voice?
I think people who've done acting voiceovers for cartoons have been asked the same sort of question. And I would give the same kind of answer, actually. You can be quite descriptive using your hands. You can put them in the air. You can do all sorts of things. You can frown. You can turn away. You can turn your body. You've got lots of physical visuals that guide your speech, that guide your message, that guide what you're trying to say. When you haven't got that, it does focus your mind. So one of the things, for example, we are fully a global station. We're a global media organization. I think one or two people thought, oh yeah, you're not really. Yeah, we really are a global media organization. We've got listeners, at least 10 countries are repeated listeners. So these are people who come back and back and back. We've been played in more than 25 countries now, I think. We within a month or two, we were getting up to 1,000 listeners a month, which is kind of cool. So we've definitely hit on something good. And I think what you have to do with your voice is to understand that people can't see you. So you have to be more descriptive. And so, for example, because we've got a global audience, we talk about a pavement. Elsewhere in the world, what's a pavement? Okay, it's a pavement or it's a sidewalk. And all of a sudden, you're just using a different word. Oh, I got a new torch for my birthday. What's a torch? Why have you got a flaming thing in your hand? No, it's a torch. It's a flashlight. So if you start using different words, it gets better. And I think the most important thing is about being who you are. You can't fake your voice quite as much. I don't think you can. Because when people are listening and they can't see you, I think we pick up even more of the nuances of speech. So I don't think it is easy to fake when you're just doing a voice. I actually think it's easier to fake what you see than it is what you hear. Maybe people might disagree, but that's what I think.
I know, because I've always been told that, is it 90% of what we say is non-verbal? So you've got to work hard, I guess, on radio to really get across your message.
Yeah, I think you do. And I love what we do. And what's exciting is people who are encouraging, who are coming back to us saying we're loving what you do. That's really rewarding. There are some challenges. I mean, because it's radio, not everybody who listens to a radio is going to text you or email you or, comment on a social media post, because this isn't an online community, right? This is radio. I actually think it's the most personal form of media that exists. TV, you can watch with a bunch of friends. Radio, you're probably listening more often than not on your own in a car, or baking some bread in the kitchen, which is what I tend to do. There are things where you would not necessarily be listening as a group, whereas with TV you would, so it's more social. But radio, right? That's more personal, and I love the personal nature of radio, speaking into someone's home and brightening their day, being a voice of something encouraging that can lift their spirits, and that's what I love.
Yeah, I must admit, I like it when you say, "We'll keep you company." And it's like you're there with a person, particularly if they're on their own, but you're there with them, and that is nice. But I was going to ask, the second question I was thinking about as you were speaking was, how did you come up with the name Pure 24/7 Radio? So
we, from the very beginning, we have something else called Pure Media Family. Pure Media Family is like an umbrella. So I've got a website, andyberry.co.uk. We've got our Berry Bunch website, berrybunch.org. We've also got podcasts, and we've got books. We've got all these things that we do, that we create, some physical, some sort of digital, physical, if you like. And puremediafamily.com, that's kind of an umbrella website that encapsulates all that we do. So we knew we wanted something that was about purity, because it's about clean music, basically. Music that you want to listen to, that you're not going to worry if your grandchild is listening to, for example. And there's great music. So we play bands like Metallica, Guns N' Roses. We have Taylor Swift. Now, some of their music is not something I'd want to listen to or play. Some of it really is, and it's brilliant. They're great artists, but you wouldn't necessarily want to listen to it all. So we go through lyrics one by one, line by line. We check the lyrics and make sure it's all clean. And that's the point about the purity element of what we do. We want it to be pure. We want it to be clean, so that you don't get a nasty shock of what was that bad language I've just heard. Because I don't know about other people. I've been a trucker. I've used bad language when I was trucking, I guess, really. And I was surrounded by it. I never was happy with it. I was never comfortable with it. And I don't like bad language, because if you're using bad language, generally speaking, it's because you've got nothing to say. So you just use colourful language to try and make something that's nothing into something greater. So I like pure. So where did it come from? In part because we wanted a media handle that was available everywhere. So if you search on apps, Facebook, Instagram, X, YouTube, podcasts for Pure 247 Radio, you will find us. Nobody else with that. That was part of the steer. We wanted something that said what it was on the tin. I'm a big believer in that. Let's not have something really obfuscated or complicated or, ethereal. Pure radio, that's what we are. And it's 24/7. So it's pure radio. It's 24/7 a day. So we're always on. There's always music. There's always presenters. We're repeating lots of shows overnight, so people who don't live in the UK time zone can listen at a time more conducive to them. So the evening shows might be your evening. It's 6 o'clock for us, but it's midday for you. My 3 p.m. Get You Home shows is drive time. That's the breakfast show in Montana and Vancouver in Canada. So we play some of the things 6 hours later, so it makes more sense. But pure radio, that's what we're about. It's just radio, it's music. But also it's 24/7, hence pure 24/7 radio.
Fantastic. Says what it does on the tin.
Well, it matters though, doesn't it? Because if it's really complicated and confusing, who knows?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So we're carrying on with the interview of Andy B here on Family Focus. Thank you, Andy B, for joining us here. You do all professional and everything.
Yeah, it's not like I'm sitting at the controls or anything.
So I thought we've got a few more minutes, but I think we might have to carry on because it's so interesting to hear about how Pure 24/7 Radio came about and what's been going on. What I'd like to hear about is more about what is happening and what the future is. But I was trying to think of something funny or something interesting. So I mean, maybe tell me, I don't know, something interesting about yourself or something funny or, something that you can share with the rest of the world. Fine. Don't forget, it's a global station.
I worked for the Pais Project in 95 to 96. Pais Project back then was basically, it was a 3-year round. That's why I went on it. I'd finished school. What can I do? And you'd learn to do lessons and lunchtime clubs and assemblies. And one of the things we had to do with the assembly was write our own. So we often worked in as a team of 3 or 4. Sometimes we do 2 pairs and we go out and do stuff. But you had to write a solo assembly. Now, you could use the rest of your team or just do it yourself or whatever. And I ended up creating a monologue. Now, this is in a big secondary school in East Manchester. This school, the year after I left, I'd finished Pais. The terror police were called because someone had chucked some lithium in a toilet and blown at the block, and they thought it was a terror incident. Okay, this is the school I was at.
Paints the picture, yeah.
And so I decided what I would do, because I'm from the Black Country, is I would slow my speech down. I would soften the language slightly. I did a monologue where I was basically an old lady standing at a bus stop. So I dressed up as an old lady, pretended to be an old lady, and I was at this bus stop whinging and complaining. One of my colleagues then came out and did a quick sort of narrative every so often. I must have been all right. It passed. I got my little certificate. But I remember doing this monologue. I wish I kept it, actually. I don't remember what I said or what I did or what the point of it was. But yeah, I dressed up as an old lady from the Black Country, whinging at a bus stop, waiting for a bus that never came.
This is radio, but my imagination's going wild to picture you.
It's good fun.
Brilliant.
I love doing radio. I think that's what I'd say. I really, really enjoy doing it.
And you're good at it, aren't you? As it turned out.
I actually listened to myself yesterday for the first time. I thought, I'm actually pretty good. People say it, but then you don't really know, do you? So you sort of think, well, am I? Am I not? But I love doing radio. It's really good fun.
Okay, so this is Family Focus, and we are here with Andy B from the Get Your Home show. and he is actually the CEO of Pure 24/7 Radio. And we've been talking about how Pure 24/7 Radio came about, the name, it says what it does on the tin. We've talked all about the journey so far from the 1st of September to now. And can I ask you, Andy, what's happening now and what's the future for Pure 24/7 Radio?
There's lots of things. How specific do you want?
Well, you started, you said, didn't you, with Family Focus? That was the very first show. This very show started. That was the kickoff, launch pad radio show for Pure 24/7 Radio. And then you built on from that. I think your Getting You Home show was the next one along the line.
That then started up, yeah.
Yeah, we've got the Wake Up Call, we've got Late Lunch, and we've got lots of evening shows, haven't we?
There's about 70 hours of original radio every week.
Fantastic. And it's live, isn't it? Most of what we do is live, and there's repeats as well, isn't there? So
we repeat some of the stuff because we noticed that people were trying to listen overnight when there wasn't anything but music. Now, it's good music, and it's fine. That's what it's there for. But so we do so much live, but then so much of it is also recorded shows. So literally this show, which is live now, is being recorded. That then gets replayed on a Saturday morning.
Yeah,
so it's a repeat.
That's
so
fantastic.
we've got, it's I counted it up recently, 70 hours a week of original presenter-driven radio shows.
I must admit, I enjoy the 90s show, which is with Andy Brown on a Thursday night. And I only managed to sort of listen to, I think, almost the first hour. And he promised there was going to be an erasure track. And I was like, I couldn't listen to it. So I listened to it on Saturday afternoon. I got to hear that erasure track. So it's really useful to have a repeat of a show when you can't quite catch it, wherever you are, whenever you are in the world. Fantastic. So there's some great things happening, some great presenters, some great shows. What's the future of Pure 24/7? What are the plans?
So we've got a few plans coming up. We're still growing. There's lots of stuff going on, which is great. But I think one of them is going to be the fact we've got the Pais Project show starting up very, very soon. That's really, really exciting. So I mentioned the Pais Project. They're now called the Pais Movement, by the way.
That sounds bigger.
Well, it's grown over the years, which is really exciting. But they, so I spoke to Paul Gibbs, who's the CEO. I asked him quite a while ago, do you want to do something together? We wanted to support you for a long time, never quite knew what to do, but actually we could support you this way. Would you like to do a radio show where you can talk about what God is doing wherever you've got teams around the world? He got quite excited. He actually got very excited. So we've got an interview on Wednesday when we're going to be talking about this partnership between the Pais Movement and Pure 24/7 Radio. And what's fascinating is I was a Pais project worker. Pais has grown. It's now Pais Movement based in Texas. They're in multiple countries around the world, more than 20. And we've got a global partnership together. So we're going to be putting out a brand new podcast that they're going to be creating, which will go out on Tuesdays in February. So that's something that's coming up, which is really exciting. We've got some festivals this year. We've been invited to attend a really, really, really big one, which is great. They want us to be there so we can talk about what we do. I was invited to a TV channel to talk about what we do because they heard about it. So it's quite exciting how when people hear what we do, it's different and it excites people. And it's always that same, ooh, I like that.
Excellent. So it sounds like Pure 24/7 Radio is going from strength to strength, is growing. And maybe if we get far down the line, 25, 30 years, the same length of time as Pais Movement, we'll see a real change there. Oh, well, I did ask if there were any questions for you, Andy. Do you remember before the news? And we have got some questions for you. So first up, where do you see Pure 24/7 Radio in a few years' time?
Bigger and better, really, would be the obvious one. We're growing. The thing is, we're only in month 5. We're just past halfway on month 5, and actually, I would say it's been quite. Some of the growth has been quite amazing. Some of the stuff that's gone on and how fast it's happened. So. That's one of the things I would say. I would say in a few years' time, we're going to be bigger, we're going to be better. We'll be at many more festivals than we're planning to be on this year. More presenters, more shows. It really has grown. I know I'm fumbling, but I don't know where we're going to be because in September, I didn't think we were going to be where we were in December. I didn't think we were going to have a really great relationship with people like Kingdom Print. who do all of our printing for us and merchandise and stuff. You know, that kind of came out of nowhere, and it's superb. It's such a great friendship and a relationship because we want to work together. So where we're going to be in a few years, I don't know, because I'm already in a place way further than I thought we could possibly be when we started this thing back in September.
Well, that was from Stephen, so thanks for your question. And Stephen has a second question. So I hope that answers your question, Stephen, that, well, who knows? Watch this space. Keep listening. Keep watching the socials for what Pure 24/7 Radio will be doing in the future.
It's grown so fast already. We're up to 1,000 listeners by month 2. I don't know where we're going to be because it's just exceeding every possible thought.
The world's your oyster.
Yes.
The other question Stephen has is, how do you prepare for a live radio show?
I was talking about this recently on an online chat forum for podcasters. And so I said, well, how do you do this? I can't get into it. Oh, I'm getting all stressed. I need a process. And so here's my process. The best, it doesn't happen every day, but when it does, I do better. I'm more relaxed. So my process is about 5 to 2. I know I'm down to an hour before my show starts. So I try and stop everything I'm doing where possible. And I usually go make myself some lunch. I make a point of making my lunch where I can and enjoying it and all that. And then I sit down, I'll try and watch an episode of Deep Space Nine, which I'm not saying is the best in the world for Star Trek stuff, but I really enjoy it because it's got absolutely nothing to do with radio. So for 45 minutes before I go on air, I'm basically just chilling out. And it's a really good way of switching off because it's so far away from what I'm about to do for 3 hours. Because it is quite intense, I'll be honest. You finish 3 hours, you know you've done 3 hours of live radio. Having said that, I absolutely adore doing live radio. I love messages coming in. I love not problems, but I love overcoming problems, and overcoming live problems is just good fun.
You've got to be able to multitask, haven't you? Because you've got the mixer desk there, different buttons. You've got the socials, and all kinds of things going on all at the same time, haven't you?
But I've been multitasking for years.
Absolutely. I've got one more question. This is coming from Peter. Thank you, Peter, for this question. If you could, Andy B, would you change any of the build-up to the radio station we have today?
That's
it's a good question, that, isn't it?
It's a very good question. My answer would be, I had no concept that this would be as popular as it is. When I talk to people, directors of other organizations, people who are, thinking about partnering with us in different ways, I'm always excited by how much they like how we've gone about things. I like the personal connection, so I like talking to people, which is really, really good. I don't think I could have changed anything because I had no concept it was going to be quite as popular as it is. I figured by December, maybe a few people might have heard of us. I did not anticipate, up to 1,000 listeners a month. That is something you can't prepare for. It means we got something right, which is great. But I don't think I would. I think if anything, what would I have changed? I would have had more belief in what I knew I was doing. I got a really good team with me. So operations manager, social media manager doing great work. We've got trustees. We've got people who are helping us with the software and radio and license, all that. There's some really good people involved. I don't think I'd want to change at all any of the people who got involved and when. But I think I wish I believed in myself more, that actually I know what I'm doing enough that this is going to be okay. You can never plan too far because you can never guarantee anything. So it's not about being arrogant. It is about being confident. And there is a big difference between the two. And I think I wished I'd been more confident.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you, Peter, for that. So that's more confidence. But I guess that confidence is there now because there's lots of support for Pure 24/7 Radio. That was an exclusive interview with Andy B here on Pure 24/7 Radio. So thank you to Andy B for sharing all that we need to know about Pure 24/7 Radio. And we hope to have future interviews as the radio station grows.
I think what you need to be a radio presenter is someone who can just chatter. And I can speak all day long.
Excellent.